So hi everyone, nice to see all of you here again. Thanks for tuning in for this session. So without further ado, we have our speakers on standby actually right now, just waiting to share and meet with all of you for today's Fireside Chat session on propelling seamless retail experience from marketing to fulfillment. So before we start, I'd like to just share on our guest speakers a little info about them. So today, joining us by all the industry experts that have actually shared all the insightful context with us just now, if you've joined our previous sessions, and later on, we'll also have more from our partners. So introducing you today, our moderator, Stan from MRCA. If you remember him earlier for our first keynote session, that's Stan. And later on, we'll have the IT director, Malik from Mydin, which is also one of our AiChat clients that is Malaysia's largest homegrown hypermarket and retail chain. Also, we'll have Kim Lim from Zebra Technologies and Felix, client partner from Meta, as well as AiChat's co-founder and CEO Kester, with us to discuss more on the in-depth insights on the later topic for today, which is propelling seamless retail experience from marketing to fulfillment. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Stan and the rest of our panelists to discuss more on this topic today.
Thank you very much, Serina. Once again, to everybody who has joined in and stayed on, thank you so much. Good morning to you. I should say good late morning to you. Allow me to quickly introduce my guests well, take it from there. First on the list, I have Kim Lim. Welcome to you, Kim. Maybe you could put your video on. Kim, are you there? Thank you, Kim. Next up, I have Felix Chong. Are you there, Felix? Welcome to you. Maybe you want to just turn the video on, Felix, so the audience can see you as well. And leave you on your sound. Thank you. Next up, we have Shashank Jain. If you can have you on, if you can put your video on, that'd be great. Sash, can I have a video on? Thank you. Welcome to you. And Kester Po, welcome to you, Kester. Can I please have you on the call, and if you can turn on your video, that'd be great. Welcome to you, Kester. Last but not least, I have Malik, but I think he's having difficulty joining in. But as soon as he joins in, we'll have him on board. All right. So with that, let's get the ball rolling. I think it's a very important time. You probably have heard some of the speakers spoke about different parts of the area of the industry, the impact, from customers to technology coming in, how processes should work, and where things are happening through the day. And I guess what I would like to do is maybe I would now to raise a couple of key questions, and maybe we'll get that going. First up, let me just quickly ask Kim, lady on the house. So I should start with the lady first. Kim, welcome to you once again. But Kim, I just want to, at the moment, as you know, that perhaps you could see that there's an oversupply of everything in the world. Everything that we need is there's an oversupply, except for customers, because everybody's after the same customer. Everyone wants to have the same customer in their premise. So obviously the pie is smaller. So in your view and in your seeing, how can retailers, I should say, one can actually then start to ensure that they can get the customers in their journey as much as they want them to be, and keep close to their heart. Over to you, Kim.
Okay, I guess, to some extent, what you mentioned is really something that many retailers actually looking at. How can they actually get a position or a space, in the consumer heart? We do see a lot of, our customers from the retail segment that telling us that the key thing now is actually differentiation. How can they actually differentiate themselves versus other competitor or other, versus other supplier? So they actually increase or enhance their customer experience, their customer shopping journey, their customer shopping experience with them. So they actually look at things like, allowing the customer to be able to identify the goods that they wanted in a better way as compared to their competitor. hence actually put in some automation to actually assist them, ensure that they actually have the right skill, the right skill or the right product at the right time for the customers. And this will be also some of the differentiation that they can actually make versus their competition. So these are some, so these are some of the differentiation that been mentioned. Yeah.
Excellent. Sans, if I can ask you now that when looking at that, but how do you track customer journeys in a physical form and in a virtual form? How do you then manage the journey given the underlying technologies that we have today? What would your thoughts be to capture the touch points and also the customer data points, I should say?
Okay, so I'll go back to the data side only. So data only represents each and every value of the organization, basically starting with the customer data. So based on that only, we can define who is our right buyer, who is our target oriented customers. So in Salesforce, basically, we have a couple of platforms which are very good to identify the target audience. So one is Marketing Cloud, which is basically for B2C purpose, where we have a lot of data in place. For retailers specifically, it is more useful and it brings a lot of useful insights like buying behavior of the customers, like what are their likes, what are their dislikes. Based on that, we can automate the journey. We can onboard different customers, and based on that, we can define the customer journey. We can put email automations according to their buying behavior. So here it is, the analytics is working. They have their own algorithms. Second, product and sales order, which is strictly for B2B customers. So when we have a lesser amount than B2C, like we have a less number of amount, we can use Pardot, which is almost similar to it, but it has got good features set, which retailers can utilize for a amount of.
Right.
So
okay.
Also in the insights, yeah.
Okay, good, excellent. Kester, I'm going to come to you now on this one, Kester, because one of the issue with keeping customer journey and having the continuity with customers, obviously there are shorter talents, and I know that you guys are involved in this conversational AI chat kind of thing. So how can one deploy that context to keep things consistent? I mean, will the technology allow that the reader to gain that insight and gain that advantage point using the conversational AI, for example, to maintain customer queries and all that, Kester?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, there's a shift of the consumer behavior. They are now shifting from your traditional like phone calls or email to now, yeah, sending you instant messages. So we also track the entire customer journey in AiChat platform to understand which stage of the customer journey they are at. Right, then so for instance, if someone goes to your website, they inquire about, so I think there's some background noise. Just let me check. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so if let's say they go to your website, they inquire about certain things, and they might be asking about certain products inquiries, and from there, the system might issue them with a ticket regarding their issues that they have reported. So the next moment, if they don't get a response back from you, they can always go to your other channel that your brand is present. So they, for instance, go to your Facebook, and they can type some comment to check about the follow-up, the status, because the brand didn't get back in time. So from there, what the solution can do is to actually help the customer service team to understand the customer, that this person has actually reported an issue on the web. And through the ticket number, the bot will actually prompt for them if they have already lodged an issue before. If so, then we can retrieve the history. So for customer, it becomes a better experience because you already understand them and know the background, why are they here.
Right.
And yeah, from there, they don't need to repeat themselves. Yeah, so they feel more personalized and get a more personal touch for having you to understand them better. Yeah.
So thanks, Kester. So I'm now going to move to Felix. Felix, I know that you're in the space of Meta. Given this is a new thing, I mean, I do hear customers, they want to get into the metaverse, they want to get their customers into that, use that platform or the technology. But what are your thoughts on the engagement of metaverse into the foray of having customers in there for retailers? Your thoughts, Felix?
Thanks, Stan, for the question. So the company believes that over the past few decades, technology has totally removed barriers to connection expression, right? Well, from before, retailers never thought that online would play such a prominent presence in the way they conduct their businesses. And whilst I'll be frankly very, very honest in this particular area, metaverse is nothing of the short term right now, but what it presents as a possibility and what it presents as unlimited potential is where retailers have to start looking at what are the fundamental building blocks that lead towards the metaverse. So what does a metaverse represent? A metaverse represents an extension, not a substitution, but merely an extension to how customers experience physical and the digital world, right? So I think there's some misconceptions that the metaverse, everybody just jump into VR and not be bothered with physical and retail anymore. Past history has consistently shown that not to be the case, but what it's supposed to be is an extension, an elevation of the experience that customers can feel whether visiting physical stores or even when they browse their digital stores. So with that in mind, the fundamental building blocks that help retailers bridge that gap is to understand what are the friction points that they have, whether it's with the digital sales channel and the physical sales channel, and how do we remove that? So for an example, in my presentation earlier on, we talked a lot about that this disruption of content and disruption of communication and content being from a business point of view. So we're talking about short form videos as the main key communicator for businesses to reach out and message their consumers, right? So that's one step that can help them bridge towards like, okay, I will start looking into Reels first, and then when I really adapt at that, then we can start thinking about, hey, how do I build for AR? How do I build for VR? How do I build for the metaverse? So that's coming in the next possibly 3 to 5 years, or possibly even longer than that. So I think that should be a bigger consideration for most of the retailers that are tuning in today.
Malik, are you on board, Malik? Are you, Malik, welcome to you. Malik, welcome to you, Malik.
Hi, guys.
Good. I just want to ask you, yes, we can hear you loud and clear, except we couldn't see you.
Just give me a minute. I think I'll troubleshoot that.
No problem.
Yes,
no problem.
yes,
In the
please.
meantime, let me ask the question in the interest of time. How do you keep your customers close to you? Well, we see you now, Malik. Welcome, and I like your makeup too, by the way. How do you keep customer close to you? Because you're dealing with a mass market. You're dealing with market that is, you don't know who is who sometimes, but how do you keep the customer repeat coming back? What's your secret on that, Malik?
What's our secret?
Yeah.
I think there's quite a lot. I would say the first thing would be constant communication, right?
Okay.
So definitely engaging them in all channels. Now Mydin being a retail business, a physical retail business. So the first thing is always our physical stores. So we have our signages, we have our, our digital signage, we have our physical signage, our store, and on the roads, we put up all sorts of posters and stuff. So that's the first touch point. The second, and I think which is becoming very important for us, is the digital touch point. So you will see us on Facebook, you'll see us wherever, Where we are not is on televisions. Right? Because being a local company, budget banyak sikit lah, right? So we don't spend so much money on that, right? But digital has become very, very important. In fact, so much so, if you guys are on TikTok, you will go to Mydin Malaysia, you will see my boss dancing there. Right? And that's just a way for us to engage. Now, why TikTok? Why platforms which are very new? We just have to be there because our younger generation, our new customers are on that platform. Right? So tomorrow, maybe something else will come out, TikTok. We will probably engage them through there. We just have to be there everywhere. And I heard Meta is coming, so I still don't understand it. Maybe that's going to be another frontier. Then you'll see me dancing there in the metaverse in my 3D avatar. At least I won't be as shy lah.
I think that's great, Malik. I think, yes, I did send a video and I saw your big boss dancing, but short of doing Gangnam style, I have to say, short of doing Gangnam style. But he's been there, yeah. But I think it's important. Now, since you're on the call, I want to take the take from you that when you do projects like this in a scale, because what you touch on is very important about customers of all shape and sizes, and now the younger generation is moving into the space where at one time the big spenders were. So you need to keep that momentum going. Now, do you think that in your view that the IT deployment in organizations like yourself is an IT project, or do you think it should be a business project, or are the business people supposed to lead the project, IT supporting them? Your thoughts on that, Malik?
Okay. So far, for my personal experience, right, a lot of project in the beginning was put towards, hey, this is an IT project, this is an IT project. So much so when we started off our e-commerce, it became an IT problem to solve, right? So IT was given the charge of doing an e-commerce site and, come up with the whole processes for it. We actually went out there and set up a proper division and put people there, right? But I think now, a few years after that, especially with the MCO that came on board, I think everybody has realized that technology is part of the business. So it's not only an enabler. It also it becomes a part of a strategy. And I think the mindset has changed, right? So it is not IT only, or is it not business driven? I think it's become such a very hybrid. Everybody has have to work together. You need to have the technical acumen. At the same time, you must have the business know-how, right? You marry this together, very nice. Right?
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent, Malik. That's a great way of putting it. And I don't mean to cut you off. Please forgive me. Kim, do you agree with Malik? What Malik said? I think he said some value, but I want to hear from you because you are a service provider too. So when you talk to your people, when you provide solutions, do you make that sure that that's an IT project? You make sure that's a business project, like what just Malik has said. Kim, to you.
Yep. Thanks, Dan. I totally agree with Malik. Not only on IT, we also work with people, we call it OT now, the operation technology, which very much the business people will call it. We want to understand from them, their real needs. So then we can actually work better with the IT team, supporting the IT team in the entire planning and as well as implementation. So that is actually very important, having that kind of alignment. Yeah.
Excellent. Sas, your take on that, Sas?
Yeah, definitely agree on both the things. Like definitely, as Malik said, technology is a very key part. It defines the strategy of the organization. So I totally agree with it.
What if I tell you I disagree with you guys? No, actually, I do agree. I'm sorry. I do agree. Felix, your thoughts, Felix? Quick one on this one. You agree with the guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're mostly on the nose with most of the points produced. But an extension to that is just, I think, just to be very aware that nowadays there's no longer looking at online channels, offline channels. It's pretty much a blur for most people. I think a lot of us can relate here. And it's just a matter of like, how do I remove as much friction, whichever those channels are present to our consumers. So yeah, definitely aligned with most of the people on the call.
Kester, your last thoughts on that question? You agree with all of them? Or you want to add any more things?
Definitely, yeah, on the same page. Thanks.
Okay, we're good. Okay, safe answer is always be on the same page. I'm sorry, Kester, I'm just kidding here. Now, I'd like to bring to your attention on something to do with the technology. There's a lot of confusion in the market sometimes when you talk to retailers, particularly per se. I mean, you talk about big data, you talk about AI, people get the idea. But, in the AI space, we have what we call a soft AI, hard AI, and deep AI, which is, of course, depends, and that's another discussion for a day. But how do you make that bridge? Because I sometimes you find, I know the service providers or the salesperson sometimes don't do justice because they go in one angle, whereas the issue with the retailers is something else. The pain point is somewhere else. So I think there's always this mismatch. But do you find that sometimes service providers can do a better job in explaining what technology really is about, in knowing the pain points in the industry and maybe your business, Malik?
On mute, Malik.
Oh, sorry. Okay, not to take AI only as an example, but almost every technology seems to have similar issues, right? Especially when I speak to vendors, they come out and paint a pretty picture. Then most of the time, you always have this Gartner or whoever, all the big names, they come up with all this top 10. Yes, maybe an industry issue or industry, what everybody's working on, but it may not be my company's direction or strategy. And many a times we have to take a step back and say, hey, what I really need, what does my company really needs? If it's an AI-driven solutioning, then okay lah, right? But sometimes don't throw big names at us lah. Like this company has done that and they got $4 billion. You tell that to my boss, I get in trouble lah. Because not everyone can achieve that. There has to be a lot of components working together to achieve something big.
I think you kind of struck the right balance, because one size doesn't fit all in terms of this. Just because you do it once, it will do it the same, because everybody has different issues, right? And different pain points. I do agree. Good. Thanks so much for that. Kim, do you align with Malik's thoughts on this? Because it's very important to note.
Yep. I mean, I think first thing first, we will have to understand the customer requirement. What's the outcome that they want? I think that's actually the most critical question or things that we need to find out when we actually speak to the customer. So then we actually align with their thoughts, their strategic priorities, and also their plan. I think that's actually important. Yeah. Stand you on mute.
Yeah, you're good. So Sas, your thought on that, Sas? Maybe a couple of statements from you on that.
Well, on the same page, since Kim is also from the solution services background, same here.
Yeah, I think same page is a great way to escape the anyways. Felix, your thoughts, Felix? Quick one.
Probably be a bit more devil's advocate here. I definitely understand the point of reference where, probably want to do what business needs, probably want to do what the customer needs. But at certain times, the businesses has to probably have a lot more insights as to what is going to happen in the next year or so, next 2 years or so. So sometimes there's a very famous saying that we have in the company where it's like, if you don't, what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, right? And that's also a point of view to be shared here. It's like, if you don't disrupt, you might get disrupted. So I think there are definitely two sides of the coin. You definitely don't want to change what's not broken. But at certain times where big organizations have the resources and have the expertise and the manpower to kind of take bigger bets, for example, like what Kester just talked about, conversational commerce is such a huge thing. A lot of people that build for the infrastructure in the early stages are going to reap the benefits very, very, very soon, right? And it's already reaping the benefits right now. So I think the same thought of mine can be looked at for most solutions as well. A lot of things that might scare us might be a little bit uncomfortable, but if there are legs to stand on those particular solutions, we are probably a lot of the businesses that are attending today, are listening to today's call, have the leg room and the leeway to kind of take more, like these more bolder bets, because they have the resources to do so. Yeah.
I do agree with you, and I do agree with all the learned panelists here as well. I'm sure I didn't ask Kester's view, but I'm going to ask one question. You did say one thing: what happens today may change tomorrow, and you're absolutely correct. You also said something about two sides of the same coin. But here's my take on that. You ask most of the business people, and I think Malik can vouch for this, if I may ask Malik later on. You notice that they will always look at one factor. As a businessman, cost. They will ask for ROIs. They will want to know, when can I have, but unfortunately in some contexts, the benefit is not so much tangible, but it's so intangible. So sometimes when it's intangible, it's very difficult to put an ROI on that number. So how do you convince somebody that you should take this route, because this is going to help you in your business as you move along? Malik, I'm sure you must have experienced this many times. So your take quickly before I ask the other panelists on this. Malik, quick one.
On the ROI side, you know what? Beta is here, so I have to point you out a bit. But one of the things is this whole advertising thing, online, digital, and all that, right? So in the beginning, when we first started off, bosses always say, is it working or not? We're putting money, these ads, this Facebook ad, Google ads, and everything, but are we generating any real revenue or conversion? We heard of companies spending 100,000, 200,000 a month. My current budget for, I would say, meta ads nothing to do with beta, only 2,000 ringgit a month. Right? Now, is that high? Is that low? Right? Many marketing agencies we talk to, they say that's too low. You're not getting enough digital traction. I mean, fancy words lah, But at the end of the day, we've been lucky enough to be where we are today with our own brand name, and that brand name already attracts. So we may not want to spend so much. But if you're an organization just starting out, digital advertising is very important. You should make a bit of noise, but don't go spend 10 million bucks on it lah. Right? That you're only going to make certain people very rich, not everybody, and you may not even achieve your business goals. And you can see that a lot of e-commerce companies or marketplaces or whatever, they started going on very strong on spending the money without generating enough revenue. Even the big boys are irate, even today.
Right. Malik, I need to take on that because of the interest of time. Kester, your thoughts on that, Kester? When it comes to ROI, when you're doing a solution that you provide, you may not
Yes.
even see the benefit right now, but it's a later on. So how do you cross the bridge?
Sorry, Kester's solution got ROI already day one, so that one no problem. Yeah, he's not an issue.
Thanks, Malik, for that. I mean, yes, definitely. ROI is the key thing that as AiChat we want to commit to the brands. So I mean, automation is one of our key solution to help them, help businesses like Mydin and retailers to optimize their work stream, streamline their whole workflow, and that's one of the key things. But what we also commit to brand is that we also sit with them to understand from the marketing perspective how we can help better optimize their advertising spend. In fact, to understand their customer audience interest better, so that they can use this kind of data to sync back to Facebook Ads Manager to reach out to more relevant audiences. So that's where we bridge the two, the business and the platform together.
Fine. Kim, over to you, Kim.
Yep, I think Kester's spot on. We talk about automation. I mean, he mentioned a little bit on automation. I think this is where we actually enable the retailer, to be more productive and also efficient. Because when that actually happened, that also represents revenue growth opportunity. And that is also one of the opportunity to elevate the employee skill set. So then they can actually do more for the company, same headcount, do more. Yeah.
Thank you. Sas?
Yep, definitely. Like, I know many are customers who don't know about the technology side. They are just the business people. So I would encourage to consult them on a right solution first. And then after implement those solutions to gain that ROI, what they're investing in that product. So, of course, educating the customer will win, of course, the trust, loyalty, and everything. And based on that, we can, build up something together in this era.
Felix?
Yeah, I for sure I agree that profitability and return of investment is the most important metric for all businesses. But every business has a phase, has different phases where their biggest objective might differ from time to time. For example, at this current climate, everybody's talking about sustainability and how to minimize costs and maximize profitability. But at current junctures where you're growing your company to multi-markets, multi-branches, multi-outlets, your primary objective at that point might be to scale growth, right? We've seen this with a lot of companies, and obviously it comes in peaks and troughs. So it differs from one time to another, but from a solution standpoint, there are plenty of ways to go about generating positive ROI. For example, I think a good example here to just relate back to some of the service providers here. If there's not enough scale that's aware of the AI bot that's been generated for your business, like only maybe a handful of people are aware that you built an AI bot and you're not spreading the word around, then that utility of that bot might not be as great as it could possibly be if it was scaled out and ran marketing and ran ads on the awareness of that, right? So it comes in pretty much a couple of funnels, like brand consideration and conversion. But I definitely agree with most of the panelists here. Like profitability is a major importance, especially with this current climate right now.
Yes, I mean I say that because when I first approached my boss long time ago, many moons ago. And he said to me, he says, Stan, do you know how many Coca-Colas do you have to sell to make 1 ringgit? And you're spending this much? What are you going to do with it? I've been doing the business in this manner and I've been profitable. So what can you change? So I think it's to do with the end of the day is the mindset of the thinking. You're right. Education is very key. So if we can educate internally, then obviously that bridge comes over, which brings to my next question. And I find this very often, even today when I talk to some of the clients, the older generation folks, they say, all right, I'll spend the money, I'll give you that whatever you want to implement, but I want to press one button, everything must come out. How do you deal with that kind of mindset? Malik?
That reminds me of one of the meetings I had with my boss. He didn't want to press a button. He said I should just think of it, and it should just happen, right? Which is actually what technology is bringing us towards today, right? Recommendation engines, So when somebody goes somewhere, it kind of knows what you want. So the right product does show up. The right advertising shows up. So that's personalization. So it's actually not far, what the bosses want. We are getting there. The only thing is not everybody's getting there at the same pace. The cost of doing so is not so cheap, So you have to have some level of, I would say, size to be able to do it well. But saying that, I think if you're saying, hey, can SMEs do that? Can we look at AI and can we use, thanks to cloud and thanks to availability of this technology or accessibility of this technology is becoming cheaper and cheaper very, very quickly, And I think even a company like Mydin today, we can leverage it, So
Okay, good.
Yeah, anybody can.
Excellent, Malik. So on that note, Sas, quick one, what I just said, I mean, quick thoughts? One button press all?
Yeah, as a business owner, if I think, of course, the cost will be too expensive for that sort of thing. And there will not be only one button. At least I need to get 10 buttons. I need to see the sales report.
No. I'm sorry. That's how IT companies make more money. Right now, what IT company needs to do is get rid of the button in totality.
Yeah.
Don't keep on coming up with different versions of the same product. Just say, you paid for this, I'm going to give you more than what you deserve.
Based on my experience, by the way, Sas, but I think it's great. I just want to get a quick on it. Kim, on this one, what your thought? I'm sure you must have come across this because I do even today, one button press all. But my answer to them will be, look, if you find a system that can do one button press all, let me know because I want to buy it. I'm still looking for it. So I think on the context, these are the things that you have to manage in the mindset, correct? It's a difficult bridge to cross, but the bridge can be crossed. If we do enough education. Would you agree with that, Kim?
I think pressing one button is not something that really impossible, but I think we need to make the business owner also to understand, also aware before we actually even get there. What do we need to do? Data is actually the most important thing, or we say critical factor in this, because it's without data, there is nothing can be demonstrated to the owner. So how do we capture data? That is actually the first steps.
Well said. Felix?
My thoughts on this is that if you're thinking, quick one. If you're thinking that you need a button to solve all your problems, then probably don't have a right prioritization of what's most important and what's most pressing for you. Because everybody in this call will have their own business problems, their own issues that they have to prioritize, right? And tomorrow's problems might not even occur yet. Today I might not have that problem, but a year from now that problem will occur. So one button pressing, solving all this, it's unrealistic in my opinion. A lot more building for incremental solutions makes more sense, more practical. I think just landing on what Malik said, sometimes, these kind of things, I think once you know what's most important, then you realize that, hey, in comparison, all the other problems, if I can solve one and the other 10 menial ones can't be solved, I can take that. I can live with that. So
bearing in mind that one size doesn't fit all, sometimes, one works for one may not work for something else.
May I just add on something?
Sure.
When you speak to a lot of business people, when they give you the point of one button press solves all, actually what they're not looking for a button that solves everything. What they're looking for is an experience that gives them that solution in an easy manner, not go through 50,000 hoops. That's what they're looking for. And it's an experience for not only for them as a business owner, for the employees, right? Also for the customers. So it looks like a seamless, easy experience. So they're looking for experience actually.
Yeah, I think the word is seamless here. In terms of what happens, one affect somewhere else,
Yeah,
make sure that's all
seamlessly.
in the same line. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Well said, Malik. Kester, your thoughts on this, Kester? You've been silenced for a while.
Yes,
I'll ask
yes.
you now.
Yeah, so I think this one button press all concept, also is very familiar in our, when we try to educate our customer, they thought that chatbot is like Jarvis that they see in the Hollywood movie. Once you deploy and it can do everything for you, which is not true. And in fact, that will never happen even in the next 10 years time. Right.
But Kester, you have to get it there, lah.
Yeah. So at least, to be, truthful and realistic, right, is to at least what we are trying to solve is the most immediate question. Your top 20-30% of the inquiries that is repetitive, and you don't need a human, warm body to be there to answer all these inquiries, but to at least help you deflect so that your team can spend more time on more those valuable questions that your customer need helps with, rather than those low value questions. So that's the part that we need to set expectation, rather than go into the room and say, hey, you simply just deploy this and you can do all the job, and then everybody lose their job and then they get worried instead. Yeah.
What about, guys, one quick one, I think because we're running out of time, I just want to ask a couple of minutes. Two questions I have. One of them is actually on talent development. At the moment, while technology is coming in and we are moving forward, do we see a gap in talents in terms of areas that you need to sustain the business, or the sustainability and all that? The talent pool, is that readily available? Do we need to enhance them as we move along? Anyone jump in quickly?
You know what? Yeah. So the talent I think is being developed right now, right? A lot of graduates are coming up with better knowledge of AI and whatnot. The problem is what the business need is a lot more, right? So availability is I would say scarce, and that's where the real problem is. So we can't seem to find right people. There are too many companies are looking for that 2-3 people, and it's not enough out there. So yes, there is a gap. Is being addressed, but not at the pace that the business is moving at.
Excellent, very good. Sas, your take on that quick one?
Yeah, I also see there is a bit of a gap, and of course, as Malik said, there are newcomers coming in with something new to learn in the market. So again, one point arises to educate them from very beginning of their career, from the final stream of the college. They should be knowing more about the new technologies which are coming in. When I was in college, I remember one technology, AS400. I don't know from how long this has been in the market, but when I stepped in this industry, got to know, there is another language named R language, but there are very less skilled people on this sort of technologies. But worldwide, these technologies are very good.
Yeah, I'm saying this because if you look at the graduates, what Malik pointed out earlier, there's an issue at the moment here. You find that the graduate may be A+ student, but when you come into the business world, it's an entirety different take altogether. So the domain knowledge is somewhat not in perspective. And obviously the other thing is, of course, when service providers come into your premise and say, this technology will help you a lot, but I, as a business owner, will think, how am I going to run this? Because I need the people to run it. And what will happen if the person that I train then leaves and joins somebody else, and I have to repeat all that again? Felix, your thoughts on that quick one, Felix, on talent?
I think this is a two-way street. One of the things that we see in the market right now, there's labor shortage, right? And that's this whole phenomenon of quiet quitting with employees and companies. I think it has to come from the organization themselves as well. I totally understand the reference of how it might be a pain point if they train them and then they leave, but that should be a testament to how well the organization has done to build up these talents and employees, right? Obviously, it comes in cycles. When these talent go out and they're joining bigger companies, getting promotions and all, they'll have tons of positive things to say about the organization they just left. An organization might not see it.
You know what? There are too many metas out there that the small companies like us cannot compete, lah.
Actually, Felix, I'm still
being too humble, Malik. Mydin is a huge organization as well.
Felix, I'm still waiting to join the company. No one is asking me, but anyway, I will keep waiting on the queue. Don't worry. Kim, your thoughts on that, Kim? Quick one.
Yeah, I think that talent is definitely a challenge faced by many businesses. I mean, yeah, we need them to actually perform, some of the technology tasks, but to some extent, probably we can also apply certain technology to actually assist the business. So then the business also have slight reliance on human being. So we hope that can do a balance to some extent.
Yeah, Stan, I just want to add one thing more. Our students that are in university, I think one thing that's really lacking, and when they come for interview, I can see they are very lacking, is that like you pointed out, they do not understand what is the industry wants, right? And what they should be doing. So they do need better programs in their, I think the maybe 3rd or 4th year to work with the industry, go out there, work as part of a study work program, so they understand what the relevant technology or relevant business needs are. I mean, things like this are practiced in Ireland and a lot of other countries.
Yeah. Actually, you're right, Malik.
You're
You're right. And I'm sorry, Mike, and introduce, please forgive me. You're right, because there's a university in Australia, I won't mention names, and if you want to do sound and video engineering, in most universities in overseas will do 3-year course and practical, and maybe 6 months or 3 months into you go for your I mean they will do academic and 3 months practical. But in this one, it's 2 years practical. You're in the studio working and then 1 year study. So when you come out, you're already a full-fledged sound and video engineer. So that's the difference which most universities don't do, but you're right. If that's been done, I think then we're in a better place, in a better world. Kester, your thoughts on that, Kester? Because there are some questions in the chat as well. Quick one.
Yeah, I mean, my side is awkward. The talent, we just have to, for our startup, we just have to look elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, we also branch into Malaysia, Indonesia, beyond just Singapore. So, yeah, that's the way. Yeah, we go. Yeah,
okay.
this. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I got one question. I just want to ask yes or no. No explanation. Yes, or no, that's important. Okay, I'm going to go by. I'll call your name. You say yes, that's correct. No, you're not. You agree. I say that in any business, there isn't one technology that will solve the problem. You need sometimes a number of technologies to work coherently in supporting each other, to complement each other, to do the work so that the retailer can then find that. So there isn't one technology that will do everything. Malik, you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Kester, you agree with that?
Yes.
Good. Kim?
Yeah.
Felix?
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for agreeing. So that's what I'm saying. Please, those listeners, do not just fall on one technology. Sometimes you need a number of technologies to work hand in hand, coupled with to make the one complete solution in different parts, complementing one another. Serina, I believe we have some questions on the call. Can we quickly get the questions out so we can get the audience to wrap it up, so we can wrap it up as well? Can you read the questions out quickly?
Yes, sure. So thanks for everyone for sharing a very insightful session. So we do have 2 questions coming in. So one is, how can small SMEs benefit from AI automation? So I think it's either for Kester to answer this one, or if Malik also want to share a bit experience for Mydin as well. So yeah.
What's the second question?
And the second question will be, how do you think Malaysians are doing with AI adoption, the Malaysian market?
Good. All right. Over to you guys quickly. Anyone jump in? Malik, you want to jump in on this?
Sure. So on the first question, right, on the SME side, you can really leverage automation and AI automation for scale. So for a small company, that if your transactions are growing bigger, you can really look at automation. We looked at it, and we saved over 60 headcount requirement just by adopting AI and adoption and automation. So scale is something you can really, I would say, leverage on, right? And on the second question on the AI adoption, I would say is gaining traction, but I would say availability, resources is a challenge. So a lot of people do talk about it, but may not have the capability to actually implement it at this point in time.
Well said. Anybody else to jump in? Kim, you want to jump in on this, Kim? Quick one.
If you look at the first question, yep, I mean, definitely they will be able to benefit, from AI automation, looking at the trend, the right algorithms to actually help them to make a better, I would say, more informed decision. And looking at the Malaysia context, yes, AI adoption, has been a lot said and say that, yeah, they want to do it, but whether or not they have the right guidance, they will have the right advisor to do it. Those are the key factor that they should evaluate as well.
Okay, good. Felix? Quick one on you.
Yeah, I think a lot of the points have been already reiterated, so I won't jump too much on it. So yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, Sas?
Well, same like
Same
need
page.
the right advisor, right
We're on the same
consultant.
page.
Yes.
Very good. I was hoping you said the same page. Okay, guys, I think when we talked about AI, very quickly, when we talk about, earlier I mentioned the word soft AI. Soft AI simply means when your home, fridges, television, you control through AI and all that. Those are soft. And when you look at hard AI, you're talking about smart buildings, smart streets and all that. But when you talk about deep AI, you're actually talking about machinery, you're talking about manufacturing and all that. So it depends which level you want to go. And you can always start small and get some of the things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with that is sometimes even in the business world, when we do business analytics, the data presented in front, some people may not know how to interpret the data. So while the system is working, giving you this, the information is not understood or interpreted rightfully. So we do have this challenge and this gap, and we are finding out surely but slowly. I'm sure things have been addressed. That is why I think most of the government agencies are trying to churn out data scientists and people with the business analytics so that they can help retailers and people like that, especially the SMEs. Okay, I hope I addressed that. Serina, any other questions before we wrap it up?
No, that is it for now. So if
Okay,
there's
good.
no more questions, I think we'll end it here.
Yes, allow me to quickly thank the guests. I'd like to thank Kim Lim. Once again, thank you for your time, Kim. I'd like
Thank
to
you.
thank
Most
Malik.
welcome. Thanks.
Thank Felix. Thank you, Sas as well, and of course, Kester. Thank you for
Thank
allowing me
you.
to share the stage with you. It was an honor
Thank
to
you.
have you as my panelist. But thank you so much to AiChat for allowing this to go on, and thank you for the opportunity. Over to you, Serina.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thanks everyone. So next off, we'll still have 2 keynote sessions left before we finish off the whole event. So next off will be Kim Lim's sharing on the CX strategy with the digital backbone. So we'll be changing off to the next room. So we'll talk to you all later on in the next session. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for your patience and time. Thanks.
Thank you.